Welcome to the Cheesecake Challenge. We're going to see if Mama gets to eat the cheesecake, which she really, really loves, or if it goes to the neighbors.
Hey Provident Preppers, I'm Kylene.
And I'm Jonathan, and today we are mixing things up a little bit. We decided we'd do something a little more exciting than we usually do. You see, Mama loves cheesecake. She really, really loves cheesecake. So we made this little deal that if she can answer all these questions in less than 10 minutes, she gets the cheesecake. If not, then she gets to take it over to the neighbors. So yeah, the heat's on her.
Okay, this is his effort in trying to help me be more clear and concise in my responses. So in one of our last videos, Martina had a whole bunch of questions that she needed answered, and so we thought maybe it would be a better idea for us just to make a quick video so everybody could benefit from it.
Yeah, because there's some great questions in there.
Yeah, then for me to type out the answer, right? But another thing about that is make sure you check the comments in YouTube, because we spend a lot of time in there answering, and there's a lot that you can learn from the comment section. So,
yeah, absolutely. All right.
Let's hope so.
We are ready. Here we go. 10 minutes and go.
All right. When storing dry goods in a Mylar bag with oxygen absorbers and inside of a 5-gallon bucket, will this be enough to store long-term? Yes. Dry goods inside of a Mylar bag that's inside of a sealed plastic bucket with oxygen absorbers, that's a fantastic way to store it. You can get 25 to 30 years as long as you're doing it in a cool, dark location, dry location. And do I have to use a food grade bucket even though I'm using Mylar inside? And no, the Mylar is not permeable, and so by putting that Mylar bag inside of there, the food is not touching that bucket, so that would be just fine. I've never used like a bucket that's held paint or something like that, but you could definitely do that.
Okay, she's off to a good start here.
You're taking up my time. I ordered some dumb things like brown rice, 75 pounds, and quick rolled oats, 50 pounds. I know they don't store well. Now, first of all, the brown rice, you're absolutely right, Martina. It has a short shelf life because it is high in healthy oils on the surface, and that will make it go rancid very quickly. So the cooler the temperature for that, for brown rice, the longer it's going to store. But seriously, you're looking at 6 months, a year, not much longer than that. But with quick rolled oats, that's actually misinformation, because quick rolled oats, if they're stored appropriately, will store 25 to 30 years. So, you know, if quick oats is what you like to eat, go ahead and store those long term. Would you suggest the best way to store both items? It just all depends. You could use plastic peat bottles, you could use glass jars, you could use the buckets with the Mylar lining. Just be creative. Okay, can I store soft white wheat berries just like, are you mocking me?
No.
Can I store soft white wheat berries just like the hard white wheat long term? Absolutely. Both of those are good candidates. They make different kinds of breads or baked goods, but they are both candidates for long-term storage. And click the card in the corner and I will send you to a post that we wrote all about storing wheat that should answer a lot of questions. When it comes to dehydrated foods, how do I store them long term? Same way, or is the moisture still there? I bought dehydrated vegetable soup blend with carrots, peppers, tomato flakes, spinach, onion, and celery. So as long as it is dry and the vegetables in that soup blend are dry enough that they snap inside and out, you can absolutely store them the same way with an oxygen absorber. How about dehydrated apples? Okay, dehydrated apples can last a really long time. We purchased some in number 10 cans from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints home storage centers. And they seriously can be good up to 30 years, but usually at about 10 or 15 years, we're opening them and snacking on them.
Okay, so, 6:53 left.
Okay, and they do have to be dry enough to snap. That's the key. They always have to be dry enough to snap, or if you put an oxygen absorber in them, you could be at risk of botulism with dried fruits and vegetables. My starches, tapioca, corn, arrowroot, and calcium hydroxide for egg storage. Okay, so calcium hydroxide is not stable when it's exposed to air, so I can't actually comment on how to store that long term. I don't do it. But tapioca, cornstarch, and arrowroot, those are all good for really long-term storage. So you can just package them up with an oxygen absorber and seal them up in some type of an airtight container, whether it's the peat plastic bottle or the mason jar or a bucket or Mylar bags. Any of those will work. 50 pounds of cane sugar. Should I put it in a bucket so that I won't get rodents? Well, rodents usually aren't attracted to the sugar, but the problem with the sugar is moisture is your huge enemy and it will turn your sugar hard. So I always store my sugar in some type of other container, whether it's a number 10 can, a plastic bucket, a Mylar bag, glass jar, or a plastic peat bottle. Any of those will store it really well. And yeah, for sugar, no oxygen absorbers. Same thing with salt. You're gonna store salt the same way. But with the salt, sometimes what I like to do is I take them in the original container and I'll put them in a plastic bucket and just seal the lid on, because that way when I open it, it's super convenient. I know all the different kinds of salt that I have, and yet they're still protected from moisture.
5 minutes and 11 seconds left.
I'm working. Okay, can I store barley, rye, popcorn, don't you touch durum, wheat, and quinoa the same way as hard wheat, beans, oats, and pasta? In Mylar bag, stop it. An oxygen absorber with a white bucket lid. With a lid. See, now I'm all in protective here. Okay, there's a couple things about that. Now there's some of those that are good candidates for long-term storage. Rye, durum wheat, that they're fine, right? But barley, pearled barley, you should not store with an oxygen absorber because it actually is not a good candidate for that. It's got too much moisture. Popcorn is about 13% moisture, and that's why it's able to pop. So you would not want to store that with an oxygen absorber. But if you'd like to store that, like I just store my popcorn without an oxygen absorber in my glass mason jars or my peat bottles, and I have some from 2006 that's still good and pops. So that's just what I've done with it. Does the oxygen absorber kill all stages of bugs, etc. in foods, or do I have to use other methods as well? Great question. So oxygen absorbers create an oxygen-free environment, and all life, bugs and eggs and anything like that, needs oxygen in order to survive. So that egg is never going to be able to hatch into an adult because there's no oxygen, right? And so you only need to use, if you're using an oxygen absorber, that's all you need to use. Just make sure that you're only using them in foods that are low in fat and that are 10% or less in moisture.
322
Okay,
remaining.
last question. I'm gonna get the cheesecake.
Maybe.
Hey, my oils, olive, safflower, avocado, etc. How long is too long to store them? And is there an oil that lasts longer than others? So there's another video on this, and I'll put a clickable link for you so that you can watch it. But when it comes to oils, storage temperature, right? Fats really go rancid quickly when the temperature is higher. The cooler the temperature, the longer they're going to be able to store. Coconut oil is one of the oils that will store for a really long time. Hydrogen vegetable oil or hydrogenated vegetable oil like Crisco also stores for a really long time. The package tends to break down before the actual Crisco does, so I don't buy it because I'm thinking if that's what it does, I'm not sure I want it in my body. But olive oil has a really nice longer shelf life, but still, any of the oils, it has to do with the temperature. So, did I do it? She's got a lot of really nice things to say. I did it! The cheesecake
Oh my
is
goodness.
mine!
2 minutes and 6 seconds left.
Mine.
I was kind of hoping that we'd it
I'm
just
gonna
about
lose
went on
it.
the floor. So
I'm gonna leave it there till I get to work.
So there you have it. The cheesecake challenge, and she won. So
Okay.
any final comments
So
to get you over the 2 minutes?
No. So with food storage, it's so good to ask questions. Please ask us questions. We don't have all of the answers, but we want to be safe. It's so important that you store food and that you store it correctly so that you can take care of your family when challenges come. So for the question of the day, What questions do you have that you would like answered in a cheesecake challenge? Comment below. And thanks for being part of the solution.